Guys, welcome back to the channel. If you don't already know, I'm Jay, and today I'm going to be doing a Q&A slash get to know me just because I am a newer channel and I thought I'd let you guys know a little bit more about me. So grab your coffee. My baby is taking her second nap of the day, so hopefully this is not going to be interrupted and I can get through this semi-quickly. So I got a couple of questions from some subscribers, and then a lot of these questions are from either my friends or my family, just things that people might want to know about me. So I have 4 categories of these questions: my faith, personal, my marriage, and baby related. So just to get started, my name is Jay. I'm 25 years old. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have one baby. She is 5 months old and her name is Rosa. So the first question is, where did I grow up? So I was born in California. I was born in Los Angeles County and I lived here for a few years, and then I ended up moving to a different state, and then I ended up moving to Canada about 15 years ago, where I moved in with my grandparents, and I ended up living in Canada until 2.5 years ago when I made the bold move to leave all of my friends and my husband's family and move back to California. But yeah, so I packed up, moved here, and immigrated my husband to California. So I am a stay-at-home mom full-time. I used to work in an office setting before getting pregnant. I have worked as an administrative assistant since I was 17 years old. I have been in pretty much that one industry, mostly in the medical field. I decided that halfway through pregnancy, I did not want to do that anymore, and I wanted to leave. Especially my job. I did not like my job. I did not like the people at my job. I always knew that I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom and homeschool and be very present with my kids. So my husband and I decided that it would be best if I just stayed at home with kids. The next question is, if I could rewatch a movie or TV show every year or reread a book every year, what would it be? I can rewatch Harry Potter every single year. I can also rewatch Gossip Girl, Vampire Diaries, Game of Thrones. The next question is the biggest life lesson I've learned. This might be controversial, unpopular opinion, but your family is not all that. My family's not all that. That's what I learned. Blood is thicker than water. If you know the original saying, that's how I feel about it. My biggest life lesson is that the people in your life only want to be in your life to a certain extent. And this kind of ties into the pregnancy, baby related things. So my support system is just not supportive. I learned during pregnancy that my mother-in-law is my biggest supporter. My mother-in-law lives in Canada, and I was going to the hospital to give birth, and she called me. She found out that I was going to be induced a few days before, and she called me and she said, "Do you want me to come and be there for you? I can come now or I can come in a month." And I decided that I would rather her come in a month because obviously I'd have a newborn and I would like some help with the newborn. And I thought my family that lives here in Los Angeles would be there for me at the hospital. So I told my mother-in-law to come later, which I thought was extremely sweet, that she even was willing to like drop everything to come and see the birth of her firstborn grandchild. My family, however, who lives in the city, decided that there were other things more important than being there for me for my firstborn child. And luckily, I had my husband there, and he is so amazing and so supportive and so calm and loving that I felt okay without having my family there. One of my friends was there with me for about 5 hours the day before I ended up having Rosa, and that was super amazing. She's so sweet for that. But yeah, my family decided that there were more important things, like taking pictures of a house, than being there for me while I give birth. Okay, so that is all the questions for the personal. If you do have any questions for me that are not answered in this video, please comment them down below. I will be responding to all the comments, so let me know if you want to know anything more about me. Okay, the next category is my marriage. So my husband's name is Vlad. We are high school sweethearts. or yeah, we're high school sweethearts. We met in Canada when we were 13 and 14 years old, I believe, and we did not start dating until we were in high school. And there was a bit of drama in our early years of our relationship that we don't need to discuss at this time. Yeah, we've been together for 9 years and we have been married for 4.5. Next question is, how did your husband propose? My husband is not a very romantic person. He's not a very romantic man. And he and I were already living together.
I know, don't come at me. I know I'm Christian. No, I shouldn't be living together.
And so we ended up living together when we were 17 and 18 years old. And a year into us being together and 6 months into us living together, we kind of had the conversation about marriage, and his response to me bringing it up was, well, we basically are already married. And that's how we got engaged. Next question is, how do we divide our household chores? So we are very traditional, I guess you could say, and we believe in gender roles. And so I do all the cooking and all the cleaning, and he, takes out the trash. He fixes my car, his car. So we agreed very early on that we would take those roles. I enjoy cooking and cleaning. He does not care about taking out the trash. However, while I was postpartum, in the first 2 months, I would say, he was so helpful. He literally took on all the household chores. He was cooking, he was cleaning, he was doing the laundry. It was amazing. I mean, there wasn't much I could do because I was recovering from birth, so there's that. And I was also taking care of a newborn, but he was incredibly helpful the entire time. The next category is pregnancy and postpartum, all things baby related. So the first question is, was our pregnancy planned? Yes, I planned our pregnancy. I knew that I wanted to be a young mom, and we actually wanted to get pregnant a year prior, but my husband had to go back to Canada to gain his citizenship there, and then also we were selling our house in Canada. So he went back to do all the renovations on the home, and that took about 3 months, and then he was there for his citizenship, and that took about 6 months. So we actually spent 9 months apart, not consecutively. I went back to Canada many times while he was in Canada to visit. I stayed once for 2 months. I stayed for, I think in total I went back to Canada 4 or 5 times. Once I went for 2 months, and the other 3 or 4 times I stayed for either a week or just a weekend, like a quick trip. That was the hardest part of our relationship so far, is like spending so much time apart. But we FaceTimed every day and we talked all the time, talked on the phone. And so yeah, our pregnancy was delayed a year, but we did plan it. We decided that we were gonna start trying in May of last year, and I got pregnant first go around. There was the first time we tried, the first time I ovulated after deciding that I wanted to try, I got pregnant. There was no ifs, ands, or buts, and I found out 7 days post ovulation, I believe. I was like, I want to get pregnant, I need to get pregnant. And so I was tracking my ovulation with ovulation test strips, and then I was ovulating. And then 7 days later, I took a pregnancy test, and it was positive. And we told all of our friends and family. The following weekend, a lot of people were like, oh, it's so early to tell people. I don't care about all that. I need to go get Rosa. She has woken up. Okay, I'm back and with Rosa. And the next question is whether I had a C-section or vaginal birth, epidural, painkiller, anything like that. So I was actually induced a week early due to, I don't know what the exact reason was. It was something to do with my blood pressure. I didn't have high blood pressure, and I didn't have preeclampsia or anything, but the doctor was concerned about the possibility of developing preeclampsia if I waited longer to give birth. So she asked me how I felt about being induced, and I wanted to have a natural birth. When she said that, those dreams kind of were going down the toilet. I did not want to have Pitocin. I did not want to have an epidural, and she wanted to induce me. And so we did a round of Cervidil, I believe, and it started my contractions right away. I think I was dilated to a 1, and I was 60% effaced. I think, something like that. And so at the end of the 12 hours from the first round of Cervidil, I was like a 1.5, and I had been having contractions for the 12 hours. And they weren't painful for me, but the nurses kept coming in, they're like, "You don't feel those?" And I was like, "Nope, I don't feel these. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I can feel slight pressure, but I don't feel like what you're explaining. I'm not feeling what you're explaining I should feel." And then the doctor came in and she's like, "Oh, you're having a big contraction right now." And I was like, "Oh, well, I don't feel them, so I don't know what to tell you." My doctor decided to do a cervical check, and she said that we were at a station of -3, which basically means she's high up there. She's not coming down. And so the doctor and I had a conversation. She said that we could start Pitocin to dilate you more. And I said, "Okay, but she's high up. Like, what? Like, is dilating me going to bring her down?" And she was like, "Well, no." And I was like, "So then why would I take Pitocin to dilate if she's so high up?" So I had now been at the hospital for 36 hours, and I had spent that whole day like standing, being on the ball, walking around, like trying to do different positions to have her drop lower. So I got another cervical check, now a full 36 hours after being at the hospital, and she was still at a -3. We had already discussed previously about a C-section. I was not opposed to a C-section. I felt comfortable with it. I talked with my mother-in-law a lot about it. She had 3 C-sections. I've done a lot of research on C-sections, so I wasn't afraid to have one. I just really wanted to have a natural birth, and then I was sent for induction, so I knew that wasn't happening, and I was like, okay, like, I've already been here for 36 hours. She's not coming down any further. They can't send me home. She asked me, she's like, "Do you just want to have a C-section?" So I was like, "Sure, why not? Well, let's just do the C-section. Like, I've already been here." At that point, it had been 39 hours, so I was like, okay, sure. So she scheduled a C-section for, I think you have to wait like 8 hours with no food or water or anything in your system. So she's like, "Have your meal now. Breakfast just came." She's like, "Drink some water, and then no food or drink for 8 hours. So then I waited 8 hours, and then there was an emergency C-section. So I had to wait another 4 hours. 9 months pregnant, mind you. I had to wait another 4 hours, so a total of 12 hours with no food or water. Terrible experience. I was so hungry. I was hoping that I would have had a support system there with me, but unfortunately I did not. I did have my husband and God, so, you know, that's all that matters. Next question, what is your daily routine with a 5-month-old? So as of this last week, I have woken up with her typically around 7:30 a.m. We go to the gym. I send her to the daycare there. I go and do my hour workout. We come home. She takes her first nap of the day. I will usually sit, watch TV, edit a video, read my Bible, read my book, and make my coffee and maybe make breakfast. Then she wakes up, If it's not too hot, we'll go for a walk or we'll go to a store, something just to get out of the house. And then we come home and we play, we do tummy time, we practice sitting, we practice standing, assisted standing. I don't let her stand on her own. Yeah, we kind of just play for a bit. She takes another nap. She is on a 3 or 4 month nap schedule during the day right now. So it depends on how long her naps are. So if her naps are not more than 40 minutes each, she is on a 4 nap schedule for the day. If she has one of her first 2 naps of the day, if they are longer than an hour, we are on a 3 nap schedule, and she typically goes to bed around between 6 and 7:30. The next question is if I'm breastfeeding, pumping, or formula. So for the first 2.5 months, I believe, I was pumping and breastfeeding. I wanted to build a stash. I built a stash of so I have about 250 ounces of breast milk in the freezer. That's just my emergency stash. I don't add to it anymore, and I haven't really needed to take anything out. I did get my wisdom tooth removed a while ago, and I thought maybe I would use it then, but I ended up not getting general anesthesia, so I didn't need to pump and dump. I breastfed her right before I went, and then 3 hours later I breastfed her again. So I have since 2.5 months postpartum, I have been exclusively breastfeeding her. I don't pump, I don't use formula, I feed her on demand. So sometimes she feeds every 2 hours and sometimes she feeds every 3 to 3.5 hours. At night, she does now. For the last 2 weeks, she has been sleeping from around 7 p.m. until 2 or 3 a.m. And I do 1 feed at 2 or 3, and then she sleeps another 4 to 5 hours. And then she wakes up for the day around 7:30, and I feed her there. I haven't noticed a supply drop, and she's still gaining weight, so I'm not worried about the long stretches at night. And a lot of people have told me that I won't get to that point of only having one wake up at night. So I thank the Lord that she has now started sleeping 7 or 8 hour stretches and then giving me another 5 hour stretches, because I don't go to bed at 7. I go to bed around 9:30, 10 o'clock. So, okay, the next category and the last category is my relationship with God, the church, my faith. So I grew up Christian. I grew up in a non-denominational church. I grew up in the church. I have been going probably since I was fresh out of the womb. I went to Bible camp every single summer, which was like the best part of my childhood. I love Bible camp. And if you've ever been to Bible camp, I hope you had a great time. And if you didn't have a great time, I'm so sorry. You should try my Bible camp. Part 2 to this question is if I ever struggled or had any doubts, or if I ever walked away from Christ. The answer to that is no, I don't think so. I never really struggled or had doubt. No serious doubt anyways. Like obviously when you're a child, you have questions and you worry about, everything like that. My grandparents did a really great job of raising me in a Christ-centered home. So I always felt super comfortable with my faith. I always felt like I could pray to God and have a good conversation with him and have a good relationship with him. So I never really struggled with anything like that. Even with all the issues that I had going on in my life, I just always stayed strong in my faith, because if I didn't have that, I probably would not have ended up where I am today. And the last and final question to end off this video is my church community. We are going to a new church, which I have only been to twice, but I so far have really enjoyed it. And it's much smaller than the one we were going to before. So I used to attend a mega church, and it was great. I met a lot of people there. I have a lot of friends that are at that church. My family has been going to that church for many, many years, but I was just looking for something a little bit more community centered, a little bit smaller. And I think I'm finding a new home in this church, but I will keep you updated on that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you do have any questions for me, please leave them down in the comments and I will get to those when I can. If you did like this video, please like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.